Shalom. What day is it? It is day 125. We're reading the Bible in a year, and we're in Second Chronicles, reading chapters 5 and 6. Let's get started. Chapter 5. And of course, the moment I go to read, I feel like I need to sneeze, and my nose is all itchy. Chapter 5. And all the work that Solomon had done for the house of Yahweh was completed. And Solomon brought in the set apart items of his father, the silver and the gold and all the utensils, and he put them on the treasuries of the house of Elohim. And Solomon assembled the elders of Israel and all the heads of the tribes and the chief fathers and their children and of the children of Israel in Jerusalem to bring up the ark of the covenant of Yahweh from the city of David, which is in Zion. And all the men of Israel assembled to the sovereign at the festival, which was in the 7th new moon, and all the elders of Israel came, and the Levites took up the ark, and they brought up the ark and the tent. They brought up the ark, the tent of appointment, and all the set apart utensils that were in the tent. And this is my favorite right here. Goodness. The Levite priests brought them up, and sovereign Solomon and all the congregation of Israel who were assembled together before the ark were slaughtering so many sheep and cattle that could not be counted or numbered. So much. And the priests brought in the ark of the covenant of Yahweh to its place into the speaking place of the house, to the most set apart place under the wings of the cherubim. For the cherubim had spread their wings over the place of the ark, and the cherubim covered over the ark of its poles. And the poles were so long, at the ends of the poles of the ark were seen from the set apart place in front of the speaking place, but they were not seen from outside, and they are there to this day. There was nothing in the ark but two tablets which Moses put there at Horeb when Yahweh made a covenant with the children of Israel when they came out of Mitzrayim. And it came to be when the priests came out of the most set apart place, for all the priests who were present had set themselves apart, and there was none to watch by division. And the Levite singers and all those of Asaph and Heman and Jeduthun with their sons and their brothers. Asaph, Heman, and Jeduthun, they were the worship leaders. Okay. Stood at the east end of the slaughter place, dressed in white linen, having cymbals and harps and lyres, and with them 120 priests sounding with trumpets. And it came to be, as the trumpeters and singers were as one, to make one sound to be heard in praising and thanking Yahweh. And when they lifted up their voice with trumpets and with cymbals and with instruments of song, and giving praise to Yahweh, for he is good and his loving commitment is everlasting, that the house of Yahweh, was filled with a cloud, and the priests were unable to stand and perform the service because of the cloud, for the esteem of Yahweh filled the house of Elohim. Worship so genuine, so united, hearts and minds united in one goal, and that was to bring honor to the Most High. And the fathers showed up so thick and so tangibly that the priests couldn't even do their jobs. They were just knocked over under the presence of the Father. They weren't even able to stand. The priests were unable to stand and perform the service because of the presence of Yahweh. I love that. Chapter 6. Then Solomon said, Yahweh has said he would dwell in the dark cloud, but I have built you an exalted house. Come on, page, let's turn. Help me. And a place for you to dwell in forever. And the sovereign turned around and blessed all the assembly of Israel, while all the assembly of Israel stood. And he said, Blessed be Yahweh Elohim of Israel, who has filled with his hands what he spoke with his mouth to my father David, saying, From that day I brought my people out of the land of Mitzrayim. I have chosen no city from any tribe of Israel in which to build a house for my name to be there, nor did I choose any man to be a leader over my people Israel. But I have chosen Jerusalem for my name to be there, and I have chosen David to be over my people Israel. And it was in the heart of my father David to build a house for the name of Yahweh Elohim of Israel. But Yahweh said to my father, Because it was in your heart to build a house for my name, you did well in that it was in your heart, but you do not build the house for your son who comes forth from your loins. He does build the house for my name. Now Yahweh has established his word which he spoke, and I have been raised up instead of my father David, and sit on the throne of Israel as Yahweh promised. And I have built the house for the name of Yahweh Elohim of Israel, and there I have placed the ark, in which is the covenant of Yahweh, which he made with the children of Israel. And he stood before the slaughter place of Yahweh. I apologize. 5 o'clock alarm going off. Where am I at? Let's start with verse 12. Chapter 6, verse 12. And he stood before the slaughter place of Yahweh in front of all the assembly of Israel, and spread out his hands, for Solomon had made a bronze platform, 5 cubits long, 5 cubits broad, and 3 cubits high, and had put it in the midst of the court. And he stood on it, and knelt down on his knees before all the assembly of Israel, and spread out his hands toward the heavens, and said, Yahweh Elohim of Israel, there is no Elohim in the heavens or on the earth like you, guarding the covenant and loving commitment with your servants, who walk before you with all their heart. Who has guarded what you promised, your servant David, my father. Indeed, you have both spoken with your mouth and have filled it with your hand, as it is this day. And now, Yahweh Elohim of Israel, guard what you promised your servant David my father, saying, There is not to cease a man of yours before me, sitting on the throne of Israel only, if your sons guard their way, to walk in my Torah as you have walked before me. And now, O Yahweh Elohim of Israel, let your word come true which you have spoken to your servant David. For is it true, Elohim dwells with men on earth? See the heavens and the heavens of the heavens are unable to contain you. How much less this house which I have built? Yet shall you turn to the prayer of your servant and his supplication, O Yahweh my Elohim, to listen to the cry and to the prayer which your servant is praying before you. For your eyes to be open toward this house day and night, toward the place you have said to put your name there, to listen to the prayer which your servant prays toward this place, and shall you give heed to the supplications of your servant and your people Israel, when they pray toward this place, and hear from your dwelling place in the heavens, and shall hear and forgive? If anyone sins against his neighbor, and he has lifted up an oath on him to cause him to swear, and comes and swears before your slaughter place in his house, then Then hear in the heavens and act and rightly rule your servants, repaying the wrong by bringing his way to his own head, and declare right the righteous by giving him according to his righteousness. And if your people Israel are smitten before an enemy because they have sinned against you, and they shall turn back and confess your name, and pray and make supplication before you in this house, then hear in the heavens and forgive the sin of your people Israel, and bring them back to the land which you gave them and their fathers. When the heavens are shut up and there is no rain because they have sinned against you, and they shall pray toward this place and confess your name and turn from their sin because you afflict them, then hear in the heavens and forgive the sin of your servants, your people Israel, for you teach them the good way in which they should walk, and shall send rain on your land, which you have given to your people as an inheritance. When there is scarcity of food in the land, when there is pestilence or blight or mildew or locusts and grasshoppers, when their enemies distress them in the land of their cities, any plague or any sickness, whatever prayer, whatever supplication is made by anyone or by all your people Israel, when each one knows his own plague and his own grief and spreads out his hands to this house, then hear from the heavens your dwelling place and forgive them, and give to everyone according to all his ways, whose heart you know, for you alone know the hearts of the sons of men, so that they fear you, to walk in your ways as long as they live in the land which you gave to our fathers. Also concerning a foreigner, who is not of your people Israel, but who comes from a far land for the sake of your great name and your strong hand and your outstretched arm, when they come to pray in this house, then hear from the heavens in your dwelling place to do according to all which the foreigner calls to you, so that all the people of the earth know your name and fear you, as do your people Israel, to know that this house which I have built is called by your name. When your people go out to battle against their enemies, in the way that you send them, in the way, and they shall pray to you toward this city which you have chosen, and toward the house which I have built for your name, then shall you hear from the heavens their prayer and their supplications, and maintain their cause. When they sin against you, for there is no one who does not sin, and you become enraged with them and give them to the enemy, and they take them captive to a land far or near, and they shall turn back unto their heart in the land where they have been taken captive, and shall turn and make supplication to you in the land of their captivity, saying, We have sinned, we have acted crookedly, and have done wrong. And when they return to you with all their heart and with all their being in the land of their captivity, where they have taken them captive, and they shall pray toward their land, which you gave to their fathers, and the city which you have chosen, and toward the house which I have built for your name, then shall you hear from the heavens, your dwelling place, their prayer and their supplications, and maintain their cause, and forgive your people who have sinned against you. Now, my Elohim, I pray, let your eyes be open, and let your ears be attentive to the prayer of this place. And now arise, O Yahweh Elohim, to your resting place, you in the ark of your strength. Let your priests, O Yahweh Elohim, be robed with deliverance, and let your lovingly committed ones rejoice in goodness. O Yahweh Elohim, do not turn away the face of your anointed. Remember the loving commitment of your servant David. And that's chapters 5 and 6, 2 Chronicles. Shalom.